Are you serious? Are you serious? Well, it's getting serious. The world markets, the world currencies. Where's this thing going? Now, we know yesterday, I'm not buying the glitches is what shut the New York Stock Exchange down for about 4 hours. I think there was a free fall. It looks like it was a cyber attack on America, or it was an internal Illuminati testing. But one thing's for sure, the stock market fell 261 points after being shut down for about 4 hours. The Asian markets collapsed yesterday. It was disastrous and have been for some time. They lost about 8%, but overall, since the middle of June, in about the last 3 weeks, the Chinese market has fallen by $3.2 trillion or 30%. This has been a disaster. And what a time for it. It's right after they announced they're being part of this new bank development where they're teaming up with 4 other countries. BRICS, which is Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, is supposed to be moving in position maybe to kind of root out the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, and kind of be the leader of the developing of the world. And this is huge. And then you got Greece that's twisting in the wind, and now they're 3 days away from bank collapse and humanitarian crisis if they either don't do a deal, which they don't want to do, with the Eurozone, or be turned loose, cut loose, they cut and run whoever, and leave $781 billion on the table for the Eurozone to take as a hit. And maybe they fall into the graceful arms of the Chinese or the Russians and be a part of a new currency structure. Now, if that happens, it's a big loss for the Eurozone, and it's a big win for the Russians and the Chinese. But in the meantime, China, whose currency called the yuan, was getting in position to become the new global reserve currency, replacing the US dollar, as we've been hearing rumors of this coming from people up several levels up in the JP Morgan Chase Bank, and who have said that the software that's been written for next year does not automatically have the US dollar as the global reserve currency, as it always has. Instead, the line is blank. In other words, it could be the dollar, but maybe it's the Chinese yuan. But if the Chinese market falls 30%, loses $3.2 trillion, now you have to take a step back and ask yourself, do you really want to do that? And maybe it's going to be a global dollar, a new world currency, a new world dollar, if you will. There's the insecurity and the financial fiscal climate is getting very, very catastrophic almost. I mean, it's cataclysmic if we're not careful. So I think what you're going to do is you got a lot of instability. You got people moving and shaking, and the ground is shifting under the financial feet. It's because they've been building upon sinking sand. They have not been building upon the principles of the Word of God, but they've been operating in greed. And when you operate in greed, eventually you cut and run, and you burn too many bridges behind you. It just don't work. But that's what folks do. It's human nature. It's not divine nature. Divine nature you would follow the laws of the Shemitah. You would follow the laws of the Jubilee. But we don't have that happening. So here we are. Things are getting intense. We're going to talk about it during our broadcast today at 12 noon Eastern. My guest, Hagman and Hagman Report, father-son dynamic duo, Doug and Joe Hagman. We're going to talk about all these glitches, the Illuminati, what's going on. There was a lot more. They've got more information even than what I was talking about earlier this morning on an earlier video. So we're going to find out what their perspective is. Yesterday, Messianic Rabbi Stephen Ben Danoon gave us his perspective. And now we'll ask the Hagmans. We're certainly in an era that we knew was coming, but we didn't know we would be here now. Are you saved? Oh, by the way, the fourth blood moon is on its way. Are you saved? Time is running out. Jesus is the answer.